Today's news highlights. Date March 27, 2025. News highlights: the U.S. Department of Commerce announced the trade blacklist on the 25th, adding about 80 new companies, of which more than 50 are from China, and Taiwan's digital cloud is also included. The company is owned by China's Inspur Group, which has developed supercomputers for the Chinese military. After being blacklisted, companies will not be able to access U.S. technology, effective March 28. Experts believe that the US-China technology war focuses on AI, and Taiwanese companies should respond cautiously so as not to touch the red line of U.S. sanctions. The Ministry of Economic Affairs said it would strengthen communication with manufacturers to ensure compliance with export control regulations. News highlights: The Atlantic published on March 26 the signal chat with Trump administration officials referring to U.S. military plans to attack Yemen's Houthi rebels. The White House refuted the exaggeration of the report, emphasizing that it was unclassified. Vice President Vance and National Security Advisor Walls both denied involvement in the war plans, and Defense Secretary Hegesys also insisted that there were no leaks. Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of The Atlantic, said officials did share the plan of the attack. As the controversy continues to simmer, the White House has emphasized the Trump administration's commitment to protecting national interests. News highlights: Mainland spouse Yaya internet celebrity Lu Jinya was left by the Taiwan government within a time limit for making remarks about military reunification, and after returning to the mainland on the 25th, he was suspected of being taken away by a mysterious person, and the live broadcast screen was also blocked. The incident sparked heated discussions on both sides of the strait, and some mainland partners were worried about being affected, believing that Asia would affect the image of the mainland distribution group. Taiwanese experts have suggested the establishment of a Foreign Agents Act to strengthen regulation of Chinese infiltration. Laos government has designated the mainland as a hostile force outside the country, and future laws may redefine the identity and role of mainland partners. News highlights: affected by US-China relations, TSMC has become a trend to expand U.S. investment, and it is expected that the self-sufficiency rate of advanced chips in the United States will reach 40 to 50% from 2030 to 2032. However, Taiwan's supply chain and talent advantages are difficult to replicate, and the United States is facing challenges in yield, cost, and manpower, and the welding salary is 10 times that of Taiwan, so supply chain investment is wait and see. Although the expansion of the United States is imperative, TSMC's de-Taiwanization is still uncertain, and the future development of the global chip supply chain remains to be seen. News highlights: Taiwan stocks continued to fluctuate, with the scale of market capitalization ETFs reaching a new high, and the total size of the FTSE Taiwan 50 series exceeding 710 billion yuan, indicating that buyers are still optimistic about the market outlook. U.S. President Trump will announce tariff policy on April 2, and TSMC's investment in the United States has become a key bargaining chip, and Taiwan-US relations have become closer. There is still a risk of volatility in the short-term market, and investors should diversify risks, adopt ETFs and other methods to avoid the impact of a single company, and adjust their investment strategies in a timely manner to ensure steady long-term growth. News highlights: OpenAI upgraded GPT-4o and Sora to launch a new AI image generation model, surpassing competitors such as Midjourney in terms of realism, leading a new track of AI image generation. The industry expects that with the popularization of AI imaging tools and the surge in demand for data transmission, the optical communication industry will benefit, and companies such as Guangsheng, Baruwei, Huaxingguang, and Shangchuan are expected to usher in business opportunities. OpenAI emphasizes that GPT-4o has powerful visual capabilities, which can accurately render text and transform styles, ushering in a new era of creativity. Google Veo2 is also competing strongly, and the AI imaging technology race continues to heat up. News highlights: the Ministry of Finance, MOF, issued an interpretation order to adopt the principle of preferential for housing tax incentives in metropolitan areas, elderly and new towns, and if there are two reduction rates in the same period, the higher one will be adopted. The tax on housing in the capital and the elderly will be halved for 2 years, and the housing in the new town will enjoy different reductions in the first 5 years. For example, if the preferential period of housing tax falls across different years, the preferential tax reduction method can still be applied. In addition, those who meet the conditions for major disaster damage can be exempted or reduced from the year of the disaster to the year of completion of the repair, so as to ensure that the tax incentives are applied leniently. News highlights: YouTuber Andy accused his ex-girlfriend Ji Euning's family of stealing his YouTube channel crowd and won the support of netizens, but Joe Pinjun, the former Tokyo dressing proprietor, pointed out with his own experience that Ji Euning's family has legal means to prevent Andy from sharing the money, and this kind of lawsuit takes a long time and may not be able to achieve a smooth result. She shared the do's and don'ts of starting a partnership, and gave examples of her own 10-year litigation experience, reminding everyone that litigation may not be resolved quickly, and suggesting that entrepreneurs should have alternatives. News highlights: actress Xiaohe broke the news of the scandal between Hu Guo and Song Yuyu, and insinuated that her former friend Yu Xi sold her, which caused a three-way conflict. Xiaohe was terminated by his boss Wu Zongxian, and publicly apologized to Song Yu after a month of silence, but did not apologize to Yuexi, which made Yuexi feel cold. Yuexi posted a long post on the 26th to disclose the full story of the incident, emphasizing that she had given Xiao many opportunities, and said that she no longer needed to apologize and decided to let each other go. Yuexi also revealed that she suffered from smiling depression due to her father's death, and criticized Xiaohu's behavior for having a serious impact on her physical and mental health. She said that she had given up and chose to let herself go. News highlights Yokai Express is an innovative concept vending machine that serves hot ramen and drinks without the need for human work, allowing customers to taste the famous ramen from Japan in just a few minutes. Founded by founder Lin Haihong, this automatic ramen machine is inspired by the Japanese vending machine culture and solves the problem of nighttime hunger. Lim's experience in Silicon Valley inspired him to develop this unmanned self-service catering system and break through many of the challenges of the restaurant industry to automate traditional catering processes. News highlights according to the response of the Park Division of the Public Works Bureau of the Kaohsiung City Government, the incident occurred in the water play area of Blue Sky Park, when a child was soiling the floor by the pool. News highlights more than 100 filmmakers launched the Taiwan Action Video Project to promote the recall through videos, and 3 short films have been released. The initiator, Yang Lizhu, was intimidated, and the police arrested the taxi driver involved in the case and transferred him for investigation. The latest film Countdown emphasizes that the recall and repetition have entered the countdown, exposing the events such as the blue and white joint deletion of the budget, the relaxation of Chinese naturalization and the PLA military exercises, and calls on the public to take immediate action to fill in the joint signature. News highlights while carrying out its mission off the coast of Taichung Port this morning, the Navy's Zhanghe warship collided with the Chinese fishing vessel Minlianya 61756. The Navy has requested the Coast Guard to assist in the handling and investigation, and the follow-up investigation will be carried out in accordance with the regulations to clarify the attribution of responsibility. News highlights on the 26th, the Taiwan Affairs Office of the State Council of China set up a report column on persecution of Taiwan independence thugs and accomplices to intimidate the people of Taiwan, saying that it had received 323 reports and announced a list of 11 people, including Minister of the Interior Liu Shifang and Prosecutor Lin Junyan. The MAC bitterly criticized the move as a political suppression, stressing that it was ineffective in jeopardizing cross-strait exchanges, and reminded the public to guard against the CCP's abuse of power and detention. News highlights Chen Wenqian, a senior media person, revealed the latest medical condition, and frankly admitted that the number of tumors in the body has increased and grown, and immunotherapy may fail, and doctors estimate that there are only about 3 months left to live. She is still actively involved in public welfare, caring for stray animals and domestic violence children, showing the power of strength and love. In the face of her illness, she chose to give rather than dwell on the pain, and faced the final journey of life with optimism. News highlights Ou Gazi, a female teacher at Bay No. 1, was accused of violating educational neutrality for criticizing the 108 syllabus and being interviewed by CCTV during official hours. The school has interviewed the district and replied to the Education Bureau. Ou denied the allegations, emphasizing that the classroom was mainly based on cultural teaching, and clarified that the interviewees all used off-duty time and did not violate the rules. In order to avoid controversy, she will take a leave of absence for future interviews so as not to affect the school authorities. News highlights Zhang Ziyuqing's new album A Tao is dedicated to her late mother, looking back on the relationship between the two full of blood and tears. When she was a child, in order to cultivate her acting talent, her mother forced her to swallow eggs raw to raise her voice and go to the park to learn ballroom dance, and she was beaten with sticks if she disobeyed. However, her mother carefully helped her apply medicine afterwards, and Zhang Ziyuqing realized the depth of maternal love when she grew up. News highlights the main reasons for the sluggish 5G development in Taiwan include high prices, poor signal coverage, power consumption issues, and the fact that 4G is sufficient to meet most demand. Many netizens believe that 5G tariffs are expensive but have no revolutionary advantages, and the penetration rate is low, and urban areas still often automatically switch back to 4G, affecting the user experience. Some users said that the 5G download speed is indeed sensitive, but if the price is reduced, it will be more attractive. News highlights Wu Zhenglan ushered in 2 treasures, a happy family, and at the same time, he also cared for disadvantaged children, showing warmth and love. In the joy of welcoming a new life, he reflected on social issues, hoping to bring hope to more children and let the next generation have a better future. News highlights the soaring housing prices during the Taiwan Festival in Kenting caused controversy, especially some industry owners skyrocketed the housing prices from 859 yuan to 7,980 yuan, making netizens say I can't afford to live. The Pingtung County government responded quickly, verifying that the business was operating illegally, and would be fined and ordered to close down in accordance with the law, and stressed that it would continue to inspect housing prices and illegal accommodations to protect the rights and interests of consumers. News highlights at 10:18 last night, 26th, 2 large trucks collided 153 kilometers north of National Highway No. 1, Meili Sanyi, causing one of them to catch fire. The fire brigade dispatched 7 vehicles and 12 people to rescue. However, the 28-year-old driver surnamed Pan of the large truck in the rear was suspected of not being able to escape and was burned to death in the trapped car. The 34-year-old man surnamed Zhang and the 45-year-old man surnamed Ye in the other truck were conscious and were in good condition after being sent to the hospital. The detailed cause of the accident is still pending. News highlights Chen Xiaoxuan's 19-year-old son Taidi's recent situation was exposed, which sparked heated discussions. He is currently studying architecture at AA University in the United Kingdom, and is not only a science and engineering master, but also has the highest grade of jazz drumming grade 8 qualification, which is very talented. Recently, he unexpectedly appeared in Yang Qibi's community photos, and his tall and handsome appearance was mistaken for an idol trainee. Chen Xiaoxian used to fade out of the entertainment industry in order to concentrate on taking care of his son, and did not return to the fluorescent screen until he went to the UK to study. She said that she was very relieved of her son's independent character and lamented that time flies. News highlights this time. The Taiwan Affairs Office of the State Council set up a special column for reporting the evil acts of Taiwan independence thugs and accomplices in persecuting Taiwan compatriots, which quickly aroused concern and controversy. The MAC criticized this move as an attempt to create a false illusion of its jurisdiction over Taiwan's long arm, and accused the Chinese Communists of using the whistleblowing system to suppress dissidents for a long time, which I am afraid will eventually bring more political struggles and a chilling effect. On the other hand, the Taiwan Affairs Office of the State Council said that it had received 323 reports, and stressed that it would further verify and hold relevant persons accountable in accordance with the law. This storm of public opinion will undoubtedly intensify the political confrontation between the two sides of the strait. News highlights the news that parliamentarian Li Yitak died of liver cancer at the age of 43 is regrettable. He was born in a family of Chinese medicine, and had in-depth research on the history, humanities, and religion of Qi City, and was serious about politics and public welfare, but he concealed his family because of his illness, and when he found out that his condition was in the advanced stage, his condition deteriorated in just 1 month, and finally unfortunately passed away. News highlights Taipei City Kuomintang legislator Hsu Kioxin is facing a recall crisis, with 49.8% dissatisfaction, and scholars point to it as the most dangerous. Councillor Qin Huizhou criticized Su for going mad during a political talk show, and the party's attitude was divided. According to the latest polls, the support for the general recall reached 48.7%, surpassing the disapproval, 42%, and has become the mainstream public opinion. With the escalation of the recall, the internal integration of the KMT and the layout of the 2028 election may be affected. News highlights Yaya, the Chinese spouse, was revoked of her right of abode and left the country within a time limit for advocating military reunification, which aroused social concern. Legislator Chan Yuxian defended the United Front, saying that it meant turning enemies into friends and appealed to the people of the country not to be afraid. However, the remarks were bombarded by netizens, criticizing her as the CCP's rhetoric, and even questioning her as a communist spy. The recent frequent military exercises of the Chinese Communist Party have made Taiwanese society more sensitive to the United Front, and this speech has triggered a strong backlash. News highlights the weather in Taiwan has been sunny and hot in recent days, but meteorological expert Wu Durong said that the front will report on the 28th, and northern Taiwan will turn wet and cold, and the temperature will plummet and continue until before Qingming. From the 31st to April 2nd, the temperature rose, but there was still rain in the north and central parts. On the first day of the Qingming holiday, 4/3, the weather turned slightly stable, with occasional brief rain in the eastern half, and 4/4-4/5 may be affected by short waves, and the weather changes again, which still needs to be continuously observed. News highlights Taiwan's strongest high school student Ray became popular for his cooperation with the American Twitch god Kai Cenat, and recently posted a photo wearing a camouflage military uniform and the flag of the Republic of China, which aroused heated discussions among Taiwanese and foreign netizens. Ray has mentioned that he will serve in the military after graduating from high school, and it has not been said whether this time he will be in the military or because of filming. After the news was exposed, foreign fans blessed him one after another, wishing him a successful completion of his military service and looking forward to his return. Ray has excelled in academics, technology, and sports, and has interacted with NBA stars to gain international prominence. News highlights Internet celebrity Zhong Mingxian recently said in the program that foreigners do not understand Taiwanese, they must speak Chinese, causing dissatisfaction among netizens. Influencer Rice and Shine, who has 810,000 followers, criticized, "If we don't agree with us, then who will identify with us?" He also stressed that even if there is trouble, he is willing to explain from Taiwan, rather than claiming to be Chinese for convenience. Kim added, "Taiwan and China are two different and beautiful countries." The remarks received a lot of support, and netizens bluntly said that Zhong Mingxian's statement lacked a sense of identity. News highlights South Korean self-media Hengzi Research Institute accused Kim So-hyun of dating Kim Sa-ryan when he was a minor, and will make relevant evidence public. Kim Se-ron's husband was interviewed and revealed the content of the pledge and the source of the scars. Kim So-hyun's agency, gold medalist, denied the allegations, saying the two began dating in 2019 and would take legal action. As the incident continues to unfold, it is advisable to pay attention to official statements and credible media reports for accurate information. News highlights: Sanli's variety show invited Gi Kawaii collector Alan to share, but was bombarded by netizens because of his scalping and sexual harassment controversy. The program team urgently removed the film, deleted Alan's clip and apologized. Woo Zongxian responded that it was difficult for the host to have an in-depth understanding of the background of the guests in advance, and the review would be strengthened in the future. News highlights: Wang Lihum and his company, Zidong Music, Shanghai, Co., Limited, were sued by Dongfeng Infinity for property damages, and the case will be heard on April 28 at the Jinshan District People's Court in Shanghai. Infinity announced Lihum Wang as the spokesperson on December 16, 2021, and terminated the contract only 35 hours later because of his marriage turmoil, and was nicknamed Daily Throwaway Endorsement by netizens. News highlights: Byun Ji-suk, the lawyer for Kim Se-ron's family, announced that a press conference will be held in Seoul at 1:30 p.m., 12:30 Taiwan time, on the 27th to disclose evidence related to Kim Se-ron's relationship with Kim So-hyun when the woman was a minor, and to file a legal response to false accusations. Kim So-hyun is mired in pedophilia suspicions, and the two sides have different accounts, and the outside world is concerned about whether the press conference can bring key evidence. News highlights: veteran American actress Cindy Anna Santangelo died at the age of 58 after making an emergency medical call at her home in Malibu on the evening of March 24. She has starred in film and television productions such as Crime Scene, Miami, and has been praised as Latin Marilyn Monroe. The outside world is concerned about whether the plastic surgery he underwent a few days ago led to complications, and the exact cause of death is still pending the results of the autopsy. Fans have mourned on social platforms to mourn the regret of this missing pearl in the film and television industry. News highlights: senior media person Diz Highway witnessed Aok's unreasonable request on the plane, criticized spending money is not an uncle, and even named a showbiz diva who once ordered McDonald's in business class, which made the crew embarrassed. He shared that a passenger insisted on chicken rice when asked for beef or pork rice, which is equivalent to whole person. He called on passengers to respect each other and not embarrass service personnel, and the post sparked heated discussions among netizens, who resonated with the absurdity of Aok's behavior. News highlights: Andy Lau was once burdened with a debt of about $152 million due to the company's financial problems, and was forced to frantically take on films to repay debts, and even did not pick a script. He admitted that the work he regretted filming the most was Love Dream, when he took over the acting for a salary of $510 million, but unexpectedly, the production team gave him all the funds, resulting in chaos in the scene, and the temporary performance was even filled by tourists on the boat. This experience made him reflect deeply and decided to choose his script carefully in the future, and no longer just make films for money. News highlights: 6 Kuomintang legislators in Taichung were caught in a storm of recall, and the opposition camp held a lecture on evil strike, retreat, and disperse Taiwan peace in Taichung last night. Media person Wang Qunkai appeared and asked the public their views on the performance of Mayor Liu Zaihuan and legislators at the beginning, and received enthusiastic responses. She questioned the DPP's motives for pushing for the recall, arguing that the new authorities had been in power for less than a year, but they had launched a recall of elected legislators, and called on voters to come forward and vote against them to uphold freedom of speech and democratic values. News highlights: artist Huang Zijiao was involved in buying indecent films for underage children, and was sentenced to 8 months in prison and fined 100,000 yuan in the first trial. Taipei City Councillor Miao Boya once live-streamed the verdict, exposing the operation mode of the Creative Private Room Forum, criticizing Huang Zijiao for knowingly committing the crime, and calling on judges to reimpose sentences and legislators to amend the law to strengthen the protection of children. The case sparked public outrage, with netizens criticizing the prison sentences for sex crimes as too lenient and demanding stricter laws to prevent similar incidents from happening. News highlights: a slashing incident occurred yesterday in Nantan District, Taichung, where 33-year-old internet celebrity Menga Mengnan was dissatisfied with the response of passers-by, attacked with a selfie stick and then slashed workers with a saw, and then hid in the toilet of a tea shop and was arrested by the police, and sent to the police for the crime of coercion and injury. He attracted fans with the image of a single father with a debt of 3 million, and after the incident, he was suspected of fraud, and fans were shocked. The injured are not in danger of life and the police are continuing to investigate. News highlights: an elderly man in Keelung was fined for failing to yield to pedestrians due to technology enforcement, and the ticket was revoked after appealing. The police said that the old man entered the intersection at the green light, because the elderly rode slower and the pedestrians stood on the zebra crossing waiting for the red light, resulting in a misjudgment and did not give way. After review, it was found that the appeal was justified and the decision was made to withdraw the fine. Pedestrians are urged not to stand at the zebra crossing to avoid danger. News highlights US President Trump announced a 25% tariff on non-U.S. made cars, and analyst L. Using Z believes that Tesla, Rivian and Lucid and other US automakers will benefit, while international automakers such as Hyundai, Nissan, BMW, and Benz will be impacted, and the automotive chip supply chain will also be affected. He pointed out that this move will push up the US used car market, and it will be difficult to increase the proportion of US manufacturing in the short term, and the impact will be more significant if the tariffs are raised to 40% to 50%. News highlights Micron announced an increase in the price of memory products, and is expected to increase it across the board in the second quarter, which will encourage the stock price performance of Taiwan's memory community. Micron said that the demand for AI is driving the growth of the memory market, and emphasizes that product value and return on investment affect pricing strategies. In addition, Micron became the first manufacturer to ship both HBM3E and SOCOM memory modules, and partnered with NVIDIA to launch LPDDR5X memory modules, further consolidating its leadership position in the AI server market. News highlights US President Donald Trump's announcement of a 25% tariff on non-U.S. vehicles, effective April 2, sent Japanese and South Korean automakers down. Toyota fell 4% at one point, while Honda, Nissan, and Mazda were all hit. South Korea's Hyundai and Kia also fell. U.S. imports of automobiles and parts will be taxed across the board, raising concerns among investors about the impact on the economies of Japan and South Korea. The analysis pointed out that although some car manufacturers have announced investment in the United States, it is difficult to quickly transfer production lines in the short term, and the market is concerned about whether there are exemption opportunities. News highlights the Home Buying Confidence Index fell to 99.56 points in March 2025, a 55-month low, indicating that the wait-and-see in the housing market intensified. Factors such as the central bank's credit control, TSMC's investment in the United States, and stricter lending by the bank and Treasury have affected market confidence, resulting in slow progress in the housing market and price consolidation. At present, the loan interest rate exceeds 2.5%, and the cost of buying a house has increased, making people's willingness to buy a house sluggish. There are three major trends in the housing market: first-time owner occupancy is king, large-scale builders dominate, and the rise of agricultural and industrial stores, reflecting the changes in market capital flow and construction structure. News highlights US President Donald Trump announced a 25% tariff on all non-U.S. made vehicles, effective April 2, and applies to components. He stressed that the tariffs are permanent, without consideration for exemptions, and are expected to bring $100 billion a year to the United States. In addition, he will announce reciprocal tariffs for all countries on April 2, but the rates may be lower than expected. Tariffs on chips will be suspended, while tariffs on timber will be implemented. Trump also said that he could lower tariffs on China in exchange for Beijing's agreement to sell TikTok's U.S. business. News highlights the Beishaten-Mazu incense activity will start on May 2, and the 10 days and 9 nights will be hiked to Chaotian Palace in Yunlin, Beigong. On the first day of on-site registration today, 27, a large number of believers lined up outside Gongtian Palace, with a crowd of more than 1 kilometer, and the earliest registrants were seated 5 days in advance. This year, the temple has prepared 230,000 pieces of equipment, and it is estimated that the number of applicants will exceed 200,000. News highlights in an interview with China's CCTV newspaper, Ou Gazi, a female teacher in BI, criticized the government's designation of Chinese mainland as a hostile foreign force, triggering public complaints. After an investigation, the Taipei City Education Bureau said that no students reported that their classrooms violated educational neutrality and respected teachers' freedom of speech and professional autonomy. The Education Bureau stresses that schools should maintain educational neutrality, and if there are doubts, inspectors will be sent to observe and confirm with experts. News highlights a survival gamer in Jian Township, Hualien, shot a cardboard box with a gas gun in the arcade of a residential house last night, causing concern. Upon receipt of the report, the police brought the firearm back for examination to confirm compliance with the requirements and sent a letter to the district attorney's office under Section 151 of the Criminal Code for intimidating the public. The man said he was a military veteran who had been playing survival games for more than 10 years and was using a legal toy gun. Police emphasize that due to the proximity to homes and schools, shooting may be dangerous and should be handled with caution. News highlights this year, 114, Qingming consecutive holiday, 4/3/4/6, in the middle of the highway will be a huge traffic flow. The Gaokong Bureau recommends that the public use the Dongjiang Road to avoid the National 1 Easy congestion section. The China 3 CIC to Wufeng system is also a hotspot for congestion, and it can be changed to the Taiwan 63 CIC highway to connect China 6 and China 3. Guidance signs have been set up along the route, and the 1968 app can be used to check the real-time image and compare the travel time to choose the best route. News highlights the choice of Gen Z investment ETF is especially compared with the difference between 0050 and 0056. 0056 focuses on high dividends, and quarterly dividends bring stable cash flow, which is suitable for those who like dividend income, 0050 tracks the top 50 companies in Taiwan, with high growth potential and better long-term returns than 0056. Experts suggest that Gen Z should pay attention to the total return, and long-term regular investment in 0050 can accumulate wealth more effectively. Through the Rule of 72, young people can achieve their retirement wealth goals by investing with long-term compound interest. News highlights China's investment opportunities in the context of heightened global uncertainty highlight the potential of the technology sector, mid-cap A shares, and domestic markets. It also analyzes 3 scenarios that China's economy may face in 2025, and points out that policy support and technological innovation are the twin engines driving market growth. News highlights the United States plans to impose a 25% tariff on imported cars from April 2, and Taiwan's vehicles exported to the United States are mainly off-road ATVs, with an annual export volume of about 3.1 billion yuan, and the impact is still to be clarified. In addition, the United States is concerned about the Dirty 15 countries, and Taiwan may be included, and the Ministry of Finance emphasized that there are countermeasures. As for the impact of reciprocal tariffs in the pharmaceutical industry, the government will formulate a response according to the development of U.S. policies. The trade relationship between Taiwan and the United States has become tighter, and the government continues to pay attention to and respond to the situation. News highlights Ou Gazi, a female Chinese language teacher in BI, was interviewed by CCTV and talked about last 17th article, which caused controversy and was complained. Ou stressed that the interview was originally to discuss traditional culture and education, and the response to President Li Qing's remarks was the reporter's last question. She said that as ordinary people, she is worried that her mother in the mainland is seen as a hostile force, and stressed that she has not violated educational neutrality. She apologized for the impact of the incident on the school administration and was willing to talk about cultural education in the future. News highlights K. Wens, the former chairman of the People's Party, continued to have blood in the urine in the North Institute, accompanied by severe pain and vomiting, and was suspected of acute kidney injury and needed urgent medical attention. His wife, Peggy Chen, said that she would entrust a lawyer to apply for hospitalization to prevent her condition from deteriorating. The team of lawyers K once mentioned his illness in court, and Peggy Chen was saddened by this, emphasizing that she would do everything possible to assist in the treatment. Regarding the details, Chen Pike will hold a press conference at 13 o'clock to explain, accompanied by legislator Chen Zayazai, retired professor of National Taiwan University Hospital Xianyeo and others. News highlights the recall case of Kuomintang legislator Su Kioxin has entered the second stage of joint signatures, and the latest poll shows that he is dissatisfied with 49.8%, leading by 35.5%. Fellow Taipei City Councillor Chin Hui-chu criticized HSU for going crazy during the political talk show's advertising period, and said that even if he was recalled, he could still win the by-election by former legislator Fei Hengta. She pointed out that Su was less controversial when he was a member of parliament, and his behavior was extreme after entering the parliament, which sparked discussion. The poll was conducted by a key research company, and the survey subjects were voters in some areas of Taipei City, with a sample size of 809 people, and an error plus or minus 3.45%. News highlights non-smokers can also develop lung cancer, and the main risks include family history, genetic mutations, long-term exposure to carcinogens, e.g. diesel exhaust fumes, asbestos, PM 2.5, oil fumes, second-hand smoke, etc. In terms of diet, you should avoid processed meat, red meat, refined sugar, and high-temperature cooking, and switch to steaming, stewing, and marinating. To prevent lung cancer, you can consume more phytochemicals, vegetables and fruits, dietary fiber, mushrooms, green leafy vegetables, beta-carotene, carrots, pumpkin, omega-3, fish oil, nuts, and vitamin C, parrot, cranberry. Adopt a healthy diet and lifestyle habits to reduce the risk of lung cancer. News highlights a fire broke out at about 2 o'clock in the morning today, and the fire department quickly dispatched rescue and extinguished the fire within 30 minutes. Firefighters found a 36-year-old woman surnamed Cao in the toilet where the fire started, apparently dead. A total of 8 residents were evacuated from the fire, and the landlord said that Cao Nu had lived alone for many years and was suspected of being alone at home when the fire started. The fire department dispatched 25 vehicles and 64 people to rescue the fire, and the cause of the fire is still to be investigated and clarified. News highlights Reds Taiwanese and American mixed-race fielder Stuart Fairchild. Stuart Fairchild was designated by the team for transfer, DFA, due to his sluggish performance in spring training. The 29-year-old is known for his defensive skills, but his strikes have been unstable, with a batting average of just .215 in 2023 and dropping to .132 in spring training this year. With teams unable to relegate him to the minor leagues and fierce competition in the field, he could face a trade, release, or move to a new team, and the future is in full focus. News highlights K. Wens, the former chairman of the People's Party, is suspected of having acute kidney injury in the Taipei Detention Center, and his wife, Dr. Chen Pike, will hold a press conference on the afternoon of the 27th to explain K's health condition and follow-up medical treatment. News highlights 16-year-old TikTok influencer Joshua Blackledge died suddenly on March 18, and the family did not disclose the cause of death. Attracting millions of fans with his love of cars and youthful content, he attended West Carteret High School in North Carolina and was active on the wrestling and track teams. Girlfriend Gilly Kim mourns affectionately and recalls the sweet time between the two. The farewell ceremony was held on March 24, and although his life was short, he lit up the hearts of countless people with his enthusiasm and smile. News highlights millions of YouTuber crowd wait Andy teacher, Wang Kongrui, and his ex-girlfriend Jianing, Zhang Jianing, got into court. Jianing's mother accused Andy of violating the personal information law and damaging his reputation. Andy counterattacked and reported Jianing's family for suspected tax evasion, and provided hundreds of millions of yuan of income details to the investigation bureau. Fans were outraged and reported the company run by Jianing's mother, and the new Taipei District Prosecutor's Office and the National Taxation Bureau have opened a case for investigation. Both sides insisted on their own words, and the lawsuit continued to heat up. News highlights Li Yide, a non-party member of the Chi City Council, reported the news of his death today, 26th. It is understood that Li Yide was admitted to Dalian Zuchi Hospital for liver lesions in February, and after more than 1 month of treatment, his condition was still not under control, and last night he took a sharp turn for the worse and was sent to the intensive care unit for first aid, but finally he still died at the age of 43. News highlights a serious car accident occurred at the Yangmei Rest Station on National Highway No. 1 on January 25 this year, resulting in 4 deaths and 4 injuries. Millions of internet celebrities cheap recently passed by the scene and found a new warning sign of no use of assisted driving, calling the way to improve is to set up a sign. He criticized the poor design, pointing out that the road design should reduce the injuries caused by driving errors, and mentioned that driving errors are inevitable and the risk should be reduced by improving the design. Netizens also questioned the design of the High Industry Bureau. News highlights the new crossing line in front of exit 1 and 4 of Taipei MRT Zhongshan Station has sparked heated discussions online. Although some people praised the design as Taipei's Little Shibuya, many people found it inconvenient because some of the strings were removed. The North City Transportation Bureau then redrew the removed line back, which sparked discussion and laughter among netizens. Mayor Zhang Wanan said that in response to the public's reaction, adjustments will be made, and plans to improve the pedestrian and vehicle traffic separation in the future. News highlights after Yang Qbi made her divorce statement public in January, she went to Kaohsiung to record in a low-key manner, and cried emotionally in the program Fun Travel of 60th Youth. She admitted that the divorce statement was not intended to cause trouble, but she wanted to be sincere to everyone, especially when talking about family topics. She didn't want to hide it. When she heard the content of Shen Chunyua's handwritten letter, she was emotionally broken, grateful for the true friends she had met during this time, and expressed her gratitude to her ex-husband and family for their concern. News highlights the Naval Fleet Command said on the morning of the 27th that during its mission, its Zhanghe warship collided with the Chinese fishing vessel Minlianyu 61756 at 12:38 am about 45 miles off the coast of Taichung Port, that is, 9 nautical miles outside the restricted waters. The Navy stressed that there was no damage to the personnel of both sides, and the damaged part of the ship did not affect the safety of navigation. News highlights singer Wang Lihum announced his divorce in December 2021 and was accused of cheating by his ex-wife Li Lianglei, causing Lihum Wang's image to collapse and brand endorsements to be terminated. Infinity China terminated the cooperation only 35 hours after announcing Wang Lihum as its spokesperson and claimed 20 million yuan, about $91 million, from him. The case will be heard by the Jinshan District People's Court in Shanghai on April 28. In addition, other brands such as Reading Lang Education Technology and Chow Tai Sang Jewelry have also terminated their contracts with Lihum Wang. News highlights South Korean actress Kim Sae-ryan committed suicide in February, and her family made public all the evidence for the first time on the 27th, confirming that Kim So-hyun and Kim Sae-ryan have been dating since 2016 and have intimate conversations. Unable to stand Kim So-hyun's denials, the family made his intimate conversation with Kim Se-ron public and stressed the desire to restore their daughter's reputation. The family will also file a complaint against Lee Chun-ho and say that they will defend the truth and strongly oppose the title of fake aunt. News highlights the Naval Fleet Command said today, 27th, that its Zhanghe warship, LST-232, collided with the Chinese mainland fishing vessel Minlianyu 61756 at 0:38 this morning about 45 nautical miles off the coast of Taichung Port. There was no damage to the personnel of both sides, and the damaged part of the ship did not affect the safety of navigation. After the incident, the Coast Guard's freshwater ship and PP-10080 boat have arrived at the scene to process and collect evidence, and the responsibility for the subsequent investigation will be carried out in accordance with the regulations. The Zhanghe warship is a combat vehicle landing ship used by the Chinese Navy and Marine Corps, and was originally a Newport-class combat vehicle landing ship of the U.S. Navy. News highlights in an interview with CCTV a few days ago, Ou Gazi, a female Chinese language teacher in BI, criticized President Li Qiang for defining China as a hostile force outside the country, and was immediately attacked fiercely on the internet and interviewed by the school. In an interview with the media today, Ou said that such remarks made her feel confused and uneasy, and worried that she would be in a difficult situation facing her loved ones. She noted that when her mom was seen as a hostile force, it reminded her of her own experiences as a child during martial law. She recalls that her parents had not seen each other for 40 years from their previous generation and worried about whether such a situation would happen again. News highlights Chen Wenqian, a veteran media person, has been in a red light in recent years, and was diagnosed with lung adenocarcinoma and stage 4 melanoma Laos cancer in 2019. She revealed that the recent examination found that her condition had deteriorated, and the immunotherapy had failed, and the doctor expected to switch to dual-targeted therapy, and informed her that she might only have 3 months to live. In the face of her condition, she emotionally expressed her concern for the old dog Strauss, and thanked Zhou Lingling, the director of the National Taiwan University Animal Hospital, for her commitment to taking care of the dog, showing that she still does not forget to care for others in the face of difficulties. News highlights U.S. President Donald Trump announced today that he will impose a 25% tariff on all vehicles not made and imported from the U.S., which will take effect on April 2. Trump stressed that if the vehicle is made in the United States, it will not be affected by the tariffs. The move is part of Trump's push to reshore manufacturing into the United States and to continue his tariff policy, which includes taxes on Mexican, Canadian, and Chinese goods. News highlights teacher Ou Gazi was interviewed by CCTV to question Li Qiang's definition of the mainland as a foreign hostile force, and was sent to the Green Camp and interviewed by the Beijing No. 1 Girls' School. She clarified that she never discussed the issue of independence in class, and stressed that there was no requirement for teachers to speak with the consent of their superiors. Ou believes that the incident violates freedom of expression and strongly opposes criticism of her, stressing that she only wants to spark discussion about the policy. This has sparked a debate about educational neutrality and freedom of expression. News highlights Democratic Progressive Party, DPP, legislator Wang Shijian once again confronted Ke Jianming, the chief of the party caucus, criticizing the party caucus for asking regional legislators to sign in every hour, which is similar to a kindergarten roll call. Wang stressed that the legislators have all been tempered to enter the legislative yuan, and there is no need to overmanage them, and said sourly, "Do you want to check your nails and handkerchiefs by the way?" Kay responded that the party caucus needs to be strictly disciplined to avoid the departure of legislators from affecting its operation, and called for unity. Wang advocated that if something happened with a phone call, it could be recalled without excessive restraint. News highlights American actress Cindy-Anna Santangelo. Cindy-Anna Santangelo died of emergency medical treatment on the 24th at the age of 58. She has a bright appearance and a hot body, and is known as the Aladdin version of Marilyn Monroe. According to foreign media reports, a few days before the incident, she was suspected of undergoing plastic surgery at home and may have injected cosmetic needles by herself. The police found no signs of homicide, and the exact cause of death is still pending autopsy results. News highlights Huang Zijiao possessed 2,259 juvenile sexual images, and when he appeared in court at the second trial on the 26th, he partially pleaded guilty, which set off public opinion again. On the 12th of this month, Counselor Miao Boyle livestreamed the verdict, revealing the details of the operation of the Creative Private Room Forum, emphasizing that Wang Tsc downloaded the content knowing that it involved minors, and bitterly criticized the sentence for sexual crimes as too light. Netizens angrily criticized the disgusting behavior, and no one in the entertainment industry supported him, and Zheng Qiuchen and Su Nailan, who had relieved their cheeks, were also affected. Huang Zijiao's final verdict has attracted much attention. News highlights the Kaohsiung Zhuoying ancestor murder case shocked the society. Tian Rumen was doted on by his grandmother since he was a child, and his personality was brutal and violent, and he beat his grandmother to death because of dissatisfaction and nagging. After committing the crime, he showed no remorse, but he was still sentenced to life imprisonment, which caused dissatisfaction among his family and society. This case highlights the problem of family education, and the excessive indulgence of the fear of raising violent children, which eventually led to tragedy. News highlights after the breakup of the YouTuber group Crowdweight, Andy accused his ex-girlfriend Jianing and his mother of embezzling the channel's revenue for 10 years and suspected of tax evasion of nearly 100 million yuan. Jianing retorted, saying that both parties were receiving monthly salaries. Yesterday, 26th, Andy, accompanied by his lawyer, brought information to the North Unit to assist in the investigation, and the case continued to burn, and netizens also reported to the prosecution unit that the financial situation was not transparent, and the controversy continued. News highlights Zheng Qiuchen caused a storm because of his gaffe mentioning looking forward to Huang Zijiao's comeback, not only lost his endorsement and resignation from 1,000 words, but also was dug up many years ago after drinking and trying to kiss Tao Jingying. Tao Jingying admitted that this incident happened, and emphasized that I am not the one who made the mistake. Zheng Qiuchen apologized to Tao Jingying in an interview on the 26th, saying that I have no impression of the matter for too long, and if it causes discomfort, he will clarify it in private. News highlights on the street of Yongkong, Tainan, a man was shocked to throw 6 million cash on the sidewalk, causing onlookers and heated discussions. A well-known local Dong Ji claimed that he took out the cash to bask in the sun because it had been left at home for too long and became moldy. Netizens commented, "There is so much money that you can throw it away. Isn't it okay to pick up gold like this?" Finally, under the persuasion of the police, Dong Ji deposited the cash back into the bank. News highlights after South Korean actress Kim Se-ryan was born in February, her family made public a record of the conversation with Kim So-hyun on the 27th, confirming that the two had been dating since 2016, when Kim Se-ryan was only 16 years old. The content of the conversation shows that Kim So-hyun asked for kissing and hugging and sleeping many times, but he flatly denied the relationship, and even collected debts from Kim Se-ryan afterwards. The family stressed that the move was to restore their daughter's reputation and planned to further uncover relevant evidence in pursuit of the truth. News highlights Yang Qbi announced the end of her 8-year marriage in January, and went to Kaohsiung the next day to record fun travel for 60th youth. She admitted that she made a divorce statement the day before the video in order to be honest with everyone and not to hide her family's situation. In addition, she revealed that she had called her ex-husband before the video to confirm that the other party and her ex-in-laws were fine, and thanked her friends for their company, emphasizing that she was doing well now and was full of gratitude. News highlights South Korean actress Kim Se-ryan committed suicide in February, and her family denounced Kim So-hyun for forcing debts, and made public the conversation and self-harm photos of Kim Se-ryan before her death, revealing that she suffered great pain due to debt collection pressure. The family also exposed a letter written by Kim Se-ryan to Kim So-hyun, expressing her deep affection for Kim So-hyun and hoping to resolve the misunderstanding. The family stressed their desire to restore Kim Se-ran's reputation and will file a lawsuit against Lee Jin-ho, promising to continue working for the truth. News highlights Taiwan's strongest high school student Ray recently announced the news of military service, which has attracted heated attention. He posted a photo of him wearing a camouflage military uniform on social platforms and pasted the flag of the Republic of China, which quickly sparked discussion among foreign netizens. Ray became popular after his encounter with Kesnet in Japan, and was hailed as the Taiwanese high school student known by foreigners the most. Despite not going to university, he chose to fulfill his military service obligations, a decision that surprised and admired fans. Ray's military service has attracted great attention from overseas netizens. News highlights the tragedy of South Korean actress Kim Se-ryan and her controversial past with Kim So-hyun. Kim Se-ran's family recently made her conversation with Kim So-hyun public, revealing a long-standing and intimate relationship between the two, although Kim So-hyun initially denied the relationship. The content of Kim Se-ryan's conversation with Kim So-hyun when he was a minor caused a social shock, and it included Kim So-hyun's statements that seemed to show inappropriate demands. Kim Se-ran's family strongly demanded that their daughter's reputation be restored and accused Kim So-hyun of lying, as well as legal prosecution for inappropriate speech and behavior. News highlights Pei Tongtong recently revealed on Instagram that he dreamed of his deceased friend Little Ghost, Huang Hongsheng, and the two chatted in the car and talked about many things that could not be said in the future. Before the dream ends, the imp says that he wants to stay in the park and reluctantly says goodbye. After Pei Tongtong woke up, he wet his pillow with tears and felt deeply missing. She once said that the unspeakable pain after losing the imp can only promise goodbye in heaven.